Hiya! Welcome to Sniper's Rest. Sniper's Rest is the last best rest stop in the here and there, the place between where you're coming from and where you're going. I am Sniper Shadow, and I reside here in Sniper's Rest as a guide and custodian to those who pass through here. I visit the worlds within the multiverse often, but I am always here to guide and care for travelers such as yourself that pass through the here and there. Welcome, my friend! I'm not quite sure what happened to last week, but here we are again in another one. I certainly hope it's a good one for both of us. Sometimes I tire of the passage of time. I'd like it to stand still. Just for a little while. A few days, perhaps. Just to catch my breath. Perhaps I need a holiday. Perhaps in a few months I shall have time. As always, please take a rest here before continuing your journey. Today, we continue reading the series of short stories by H.P. Lovecraft. This tale takes a step away from the macabre and the chilling, and into the realm of fantasy. It is called The Other Gods, and was first published in the 1933 November issue of the Fantasy Fan. Let's see where we travel to today. Atop the tallest of Earth's peaks dwell the gods of Earth, and suffer no man to tell that he hath looked upon them. Lesser peaks they once inhabited, but ever the men from the plains would scale the slopes of rock and snow, driving the gods to higher and higher mountains, till now only the last remains. When they left their older peaks, they took with them all the signs of themselves, save once, it is said, when they left a carven image of the face of the mountain which they call Naganarak. But now they have betaken themselves to unknown Kadath, in the cold waste where no man treads, and are grown stern, having no high peak whereto to flee at the coming of men. They grow stern, and where once they suffered men to displace them, they now forbid men to come, or coming to depart. It is well for men that they know not of Kadath in the cold waste, else they would seek injudiciously to scale it. Sometimes, when earth's gods are homesick, they visit in the still night the peaks where once they dwelt, and weep softly as they try to play in the olden way on those remembered slopes. Men have felt the tears of gods on the white-capped Thuria, though they have thought it rain, and have heard the sighs of gods in the plaintive drawn winds of Leron. In the cloud ships the gods are wont to travel, and wise cotters have legends that keep them from certain high peaks at night when it is cloudy, for the gods are not lenient as of old. In Ulthar, which lies beyond the river's Skakai, once dwelt an old man, avid to behold the gods of earth, a man deeply learned in the 7 cryptical books of Hassan, and familiar with the phonetic manuscripts of distant and frozen Lamar. His name was Barzai the Wise, and the villagers tell of how he went up a mountain on the night of the strange eclipse. Barzai knew so much of the gods that he could tell of their comings and goings, and guessed so many of their secrets that he was deemed a half-god himself. It was he who wisely advised the burgesses of Ulthar when they passed their remarkable law against the slaying of cats, and whose first told the youngest priest Atal where it is that black cats go at midnight on St. John's Eve. Barzai was learned in the lore of the earth gods, and had gained a desire to look upon their faces. He believed his great secret knowledge of the gods could shield him from their wrath, so resolved to go up the mountain of a high and rocky Hatheg-Kla on a night when he knew the gods would be there. Hatheg-Kla is far in the stony desert beyond Hatheg, for which it is named, and rises like a rock statue in a silent temple. Around its peak, the mists play always mournfully, for mists are the memories of the gods, and the gods love Hatheg-Kla when they dwelt upon it in the old days. Often the gods of earth visit Hatheg-Kla in their ships of cloud, casting pale vapours over the slopes as they dance reminiscently on the summit under a clear moon. The villagers of Hatheg say it is ill to climb Hatheg-Kla at any time, and deadly to climb it by night when pale vapours hide the summit. But Barzai heeded them not when he came from neighbouring Ulthar with the young priest Atal, who was his disciple. Atal was the only son of an innkeeper, and was sometimes afraid, but Barzai's father had been a landgrave who dwelt at an ancient castle, so he had no common superstition in his blood, and only laughed at the fearful cotters. Barzai and Atal went out of Hatheg into the stony desert, despite the prayers of peasants and the talks of earth gods by their campfires at night. Many days they travelled, and from afar saw lofty Hatheg-Kla with its aureole of mournful mist. On the 13th day they reached the mountain's lonely base, and Atal spoke of his fears, but Barzai was old and learned and had no fears, so led the way boldly up the slope that no man had scaled since the time of Sansu, who is written of with fright in the mouldy phonetic manuscripts. The way was rocky and made perilous by chasms and cliffs and falling stones. Later, it grew cold and snowy, and Barzai and Atal often slipped and fell as they hewed and plodded upward with staves and axes. Finally, the air grew thin, and the clouds changed colour, and the climbers found it hard to breathe, but still they toiled up and up, marvelling at the strangeness of the scene, and thrilling at the thought of what would happen on the summit when the moon was out and the pale vapours spread around. For 3 days they climbed higher and higher and higher towards the roof of the world. Then they camped to wait for the clouding of the moon. For 4 nights no clouds came, and the moon shone down cold through the thin, mournful mists around the silent pinnacle. Then, on the 5th night, which was the night of the full moon, Barzai saw some dense clouds to the far north, and stayed up with Atal to watch them draw near. Thick and majestic they sailed slowly and deliberately onwards, ranging themselves around the peak, high above the watchers, and hiding the moon and the summit from view. For a long hour the watchers gazed whilst the vapours swirled, and the screen of clouds grew thicker and more restless. Barzai was wise in the lore of the earth's gods, and listened hard for certain sounds, but Atal felt the chill of the vapours and the awe of the night, and feared much. And when Barzai began to climb higher and beckoned eagerly, it was long before Atal would follow. So thick were the vapours that the way was hard, and though Atal followed on at last, he could scarce see the grey shape of Barzai on the dim slope above the clouded moonlight. Barzai forged very far ahead, and seemed, despite his age, to climb more easily than Atal, fearing not the steepness that began to grow too great for any save a strong and dauntless man, nor pausing at the wide black chasms that Atal could scarce leap. So they went up, wildly over rocks and gulfs, slipping and stumbling, and sometimes awed at the vastness and horrible silence of the bleak ice pinnacles and the mute granite steeps. Very suddenly, Barzai went out of Atal's sight, scaling a hideous cliff that seemed to bulge outwards and block the path for any climber not inspired of earth's gods. Atal was far below and planning what he should do when he reached the place, when curiously he noticed that the light had grown stronger, as if the cloudless peak and the moonlit meeting place of the gods were very near. And, as he scrambled on towards the bulging cliff and the lightened sky, he felt fears more shocking than any he had known before. Then, through the high mists, he heard the voice of unseen Barzai shouting wildly in delight. "I have heard the gods! I have heard Earth's gods sing in revelry on Hatheg-Kla. The voices of Earth's gods are known to Barzai the prophet. The mists are thin and the moon is bright. And I shall see the gods dancing wildly on Hatheg-Kla, that they loved in youth. The wisdom of Barzai hath made him greater than Earth's gods, and against his will their spells and barriers are naught. Barzai will behold the gods, the proud gods, the secret gods, the gods of Earth who spurn the sight of men." Atal could not hear the voices Barzai heard, but he was now close to the bulging cliff and scanning it for footholds. Then he heard Barzai's voice grow shriller and louder. "The mists are very thin, and the moon casts shadows on the slope. The voices of Earth's gods are high and wild, and they fear the coming of Barzai the Wise, who is greater than they. The moonlight flickers, and Earth's gods dance against it. I shall see the dancing forms of the gods that leap and howl in the moonlight. The light is dimmer, and the gods are afraid." Whilst Barzai was shouting these things, Atal felt a spectral change in the air, as if the laws of Earth were bowing to greater laws. For though the way was steeper than ever, the upward path was now growing fearsomely easy, and the bulging cliff provided scarce an obstacle when he reached it, and slid perilously up its convex face. The light of the moon had strangely failed, and as Atal plunged upwards through the mists, he heard Barzai the Wise shrieking in the shadows. "The moon is dark, and the gods dance in the night. There is terror in the sky, for upon the moon hath sunk an eclipse foretold in no books of men or of Earth's gods. There is unknown magic on Hatheg-Kla, for the screams of the frightened gods have turned to laughter, and the slopes of ice shoot up endlessly into the black heavens, whither I am plunging. High, high at last in the dim light I behold the gods of Earth." And now Atal, slipping dizzily up over inconceivable steeps, heard in the dark a loathsome laughing, mixed with such a cry as no man else ever heard save in the phlegethon of unrelatable nightmares, a cry wherein reverberated the horror and anguish of a haunted lifetime packed into one atrocious moment. "They are the gods! They are the gods! The gods of the outer hells, they guard the feeble gods of Earth. Look away, go back, do not see the vengeance of the infinite abyss, that curse, that damnable pit. Merciful gods of Earth, I am falling into the sky!" And as Atal shut his eyes and stopped his ears and tried to jump downwards against the frightful pull from unknown heights, there resounded on Hatheg-Kla that terrible peal of thunder, which awakened the good cotters of the plains, and the honest burgesses of Hatheg and Nur and Ulthar, and caused them to behold, through the clouds of that strange eclipse of the moon that no book ever predicted. And when the moon came out at last, Atal was safe on the lower snows of the mountain, without sight of Earth's gods, or of the other gods. Now it is told in the mouldy Fankotic manuscripts that Sansu fought naught but wordless ice and rock when he climbed Hatheg-Kla in the youth of the world. Yet, when the men of Ulthar and Nir and Hatheg crushed their fears and scaled that haunted steep by day in search of Barzai the Wise, they found, graven in the naked stone of the summit, a curious and cyclopean symbol 50 cubits wide, as if the rock had been riven by some titanic chisel. And the symbol was like to one that learned men have discerned in those frightful parts of the Fagnotic manuscripts, which are too ancient to be read. This they found. Barzai the Wise they never found, nor could the holy priest Atal ever be persuaded to pray for his soul's repose. Moreover, to this day, the people of Uthar and Nir and Hatheg have feared eclipses, and pray by night when the pale vapours hide the mountain top and the moon. And above the mists, on Hatheg-Kla, Earth's gods sometimes dance reminiscently, for they know they are safe, and love to come from unknown Kadath in ships of cloud and play in the olden way, as they did when Earth was new, and men not given to the climbing of inaccessible places. The end. That concludes our tale for this week, my friend. Please return next week and we will continue with another short story by H.P. Lovecraft. If you wish to rest some more, please find a space that suits you. Whether you curl up by the fire, partake in some food and beverages in our kitchen, take a nap in one of our many rooms, or take a stroll around the garden, please know you are always welcome at Sniper's Rest, my friend. If you are continuing your journey, there are some lovely and interesting portals out there. To the north, summer holidays are here, and you get to spend it at your grandparents' house on a beautiful island. The wildlife here is lovely and unique, and also in danger. Work with your grandfather to discover the island's animals and save them from pollution. To the west, Alice has never been quite right, but after a horrific accident and years in an asylum, she's somewhat stable. Take on her fears and her memories, her dreams and visions. What's real and what's not, Alice? Even your safe haven has suffered. Can you claw your way out of the madness? Don't worry, we're all mad here. To the east, you are the spirit of life. You've been tasked with the collection, the souls of the last animals, the final of their kind. Discover the cause of destruction, see the extinction, the progress, the love, the hope. Perhaps, finally, you can restore Earth. And if you are making your own way out there, good luck, my friend, wherever you end up. Wherever you come from and wherever you're going, thank you for spending some time here with us at Sniper's Rest. Remember to take care of yourself, be kind to others, hydrate, take a moment to look out into the world and marvel at how incredible it all is. How incredible you are, friend. Until next time, please take care on your way.